All right, y'all. Welcome to All for the Culture. We're here again. It's a little bit of a different episode today. We don't got a rapper in the building. We got a high school, middle school buddy of mine. He's out here doing some stuff for Hurricane Harvey here in Houston and doing a lot of other type of rescue and charity work and stuff like that. And I wanted to talk to him today, get to know his story, get to know what he's doing because I feel it's important to Houston and Texas and everywhere actually because he's helping Puerto Rico and things like that. We got a man named Taylor Fontenot in the building. How's it going, man? How you doing today?
Going good, man. Going good.
So let me ask you, man. First, what's the name of the organization that you started?
Organization is crisisreliefteam.org. Uh,
Crisis Relief Team.
yeah, we focus on relief, recovery, and the rescue part of natural disasters.
So how did you get this idea to start this?
Man, a month ago I was a bartender. I put out a post on Nextdoor, that little app for neighborhoods, looking for someone with a boat, raft, anything I can go out and kind of help out with. Went out that first night of Harvey with a John boat with no motor, a body harness for football, towing that thing through the water with my body, and a kayak, and we just started responding to calls.
So I mean, but like in that moment, what did you see? What happened that made you want to get involved? That made you just have to get up and help people?
I can't even tell you. I mean, it was kind of a hard time in my life. It might have, helping these other people might have saved my life, but it was just one of those things that my normal hurricane routine was, hey, let's go have a party, something like that, and just seeing it just made me kind of, maybe I can do something different this time. I got a kid on the way, so it's one of those things, let me build some good karma for my kid, and let me get out there, help some people, hopefully that'll come back.
Congratulations. Congratulations. You hear that a lot. It's kind of funny with rappers nowadays. Is like a lot of times you'd be like, so why did you start taking your career seriously? You'd be like, oh, I had a child. It's kind of similar what you're saying, but in a different way. I feel like, would you feel like maybe having your son being about to be in the world, you're thinking more from a grown standpoint, a more grown standpoint, a more mature standpoint?
Honestly, yeah, like the second I found out I was having a kid, like my narcissistic tendencies, everything went out the door, and it became about how can I do better for my child to have a better life before it even gets here.
Okay. And so, with Hurricane Harvey, when you started out and you started seeing everything, what do you feel like was the worst thing that happened, or what do you feel like the worst damage was, and what do you feel like Houston and the government could have done differently?
It's all different, man. Like you go down to Rockport, Corpus Christi, Port Aransas, and it's wind damage. Tornadoes touching down. That's the hurricane. The wind just home's gone. Then you come to Houston, and it's the rain. It was all flooding, and then you get in these areas like in Memorial where I'm sitting there running boats, and the reservoirs are failing. They're leaking it back into these neighborhoods. These people don't want to leave because they think that, oh, this is rainwater and it's going to go away. It hasn't rained in 2 days. The water's still rising. This is now the reservoir. They didn't get that. But then you get situations like Port Arthur, and that's where my family's at.
Oh, they were bad.
That's on the comms, and you just hear these people, I'm trapped in my attic, the water's up to my knees. 5 minutes later, I'm trapped in my attic, the water's up to my chest. There was no 5 minutes later.
Damn.
So you know. That was one of those things, like my family's from Port Arthur. I was freaking out. I was ready to go. Sunday to about Thursday of Harvey, most anybody in my crew slept was probably 6 hours. If we weren't driving to the next spot, we were waist chest deep in water.
Yeah. I mean, people hear 6 hours and think that's a lot, but you got to understand what you're doing before that 6 hours is a lot of tiring work. So it's like
5 days we slept 6 hours total.
Oh shit! Okay, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, wow. Because I was about to say even 6 hours a night is still fucking crazy.
That would have been heaven.
After what you're doing it's fucking it's a lot to do. But damn. So how did your family make out during Hurricane Harvey and the Port Arthur thing?
Family was a little. They were elevated. I did have one great aunt that was 94 with Alzheimer's, and she was found chest deep in her house in water. But luckily, I had crews there. They were in Beaumont. Coast Guard actually pulled us out of the water at 1:30 in the morning when it hit because everything was so bad.
Wow.
Let us back in at 6:30. I had 3 boats waiting. They raced there, and they got my aunt. And so
That's crazy.
I'm kind of thankful for that.
One thing I always wondered about in hurricanes, our house got destroyed in 2008 in Ike. 16 walls came down. The roof fell on my grandmother, right? But there was no flooding per se. And what I always wonder when people have flooding is like, how are you just like, so they're just stuck like swimming in water basically, like in their house they're just swimming and waiting for somebody.
Yep.
There's nowhere they can go sometimes. I mean,
That's
there's
all it
addicts
is.
sometimes, but sometimes
I mean,
no.
a lot of it's, you got pets, you got elderly, you got people with medical conditions.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, what would I do on dialysis and shit like that?
Yeah, I had
I'm
those
just
calls.
thinking,
These people are on dialysis, they have no power, their generator's going to fail in 30 minutes, they have 30 minutes of fuel left. And the closest boat you have is 45 minutes away because of traffic. I mean, it might be 10 miles, but to get that 10 miles, all the roads are blocked, so you got to hit Grand Parkway, or West Park, hit Grand Parkway, come up I-10, it's a 50-minute journey there. After loading up the boats, relaunching the boat to get to the house, so you're just praying that there's a little more gas than they think in that generator.
damn, that's crazy because like you sit and you think, and it's like I was thinking like I was stressing like fuck my dialysis nurse is not gonna be able to make it to my house, and it was like 3 days, and I'm stressing, but that's nothing compared to like what other people have to do when they don't have the machine, the generator's down, everything's like the power's gone, and then another thing is like we call the hospital, and the hospital's like we're only one doing people with high potassium because that affects your heart,
Yeah.
and then two is like a 10-hour wait. My cousin's a doctor. He's like, can y'all rush him? But like, we're not doing any doctor rushes or anything like that. It's everybody wait the same amount of time. I was like, oh, I'm not waiting that long. I'm gonna just wait till this guy comes. And luckily he made it. And then every other time that there's been a hurricane, I've luckily had my transplant. Thank God. Like any other time that a hurricane messed up our house, I wasn't on dialysis. And so this was the first time, but it was scary. But I imagine like what I would go through, even just being in like if this whole thing was filled with water and I had to swim, within like 30 minutes my legs would be freaking tired as shit. Like, cause you gotta hold yourself up.
It's not like that though. You got to think of this water coming in. Not only this water coming in at high rates, it's the water coming out too. So we call it swift water.
Yeah.
The currents in these neighborhoods, it's almost like river rapids, and you're just looking. It's just an intersection of a suburban neighborhood.
Yeah, and then if they have medical problems, their immune system's probably fucked up. It has all this disease in the water, all this shit in the water.
That water, man.
I know.
Especially out in East Texas. I went out there to going to Beaumont to do animal rescues because kind of the search and rescue had died down about a week into it.
Yeah.
I get a call like, hey, National Guard's asked for you by name. You want to go help them recover bodies in Port Arthur? So I talked to my crew. I had about 112 boats. I had, when I got there, about 13. So I told them, this is going to be, you're either ready for this or you're not. You need to look at it if you are ready that you're going to give these families closure. These people have been in the water for a week. There's bloating. There's animals feeding. It's just one of the things you had to be ready for. And getting there, and after being in that water for a short amount of time, they didn't let us go do the National Guard recovery because the water was so bad. It was 180% over contamination levels.
So they wouldn't let you go get the dead bodies out of the water.
They wouldn't let us do that because it's they wanted us to go in. If we went in, and our protection was like a Tarvec painting suit with duct tape around and shopping bags on our feet.
Yeah.
It's one of those things. So I took off from there, went to go do some animal rescues in this little tiny neighborhood that had about 50 animals in it. I could have knocked out an hour, but they wouldn't let me in. Wouldn't tell me why. Get in that water. Long story short, I get into it with the EOC there, and coming back into Houston, I'm out in Baytown. They call me, hey, you need to turn around and go do a decontamination shower in Viter. They need to decontaminate your vehicle. They need to decontaminate you. Any clothes you have need to be thrown away. So the water was bad. Very, very bad.
I mean, I'm just thinking like open wounds.
Oh, all over my legs from being in Houston.
That's crazy. That's insane.